problem is me.
Because the mind is not running.
God, I want a new life. I want to be transformed, restoration on every side. But it's just like, if I move from place to place, if my mindset is the same.
A slave giant can talk to his own children. Let's tap into that.
We keep praying for a new life, but refuse a new mind. Because one thing about me, I'm a runner. I will
so you're running to your track star.
I will run. I will run. If I see there's a place that's causing me inconvenience, one thing I will run.
Hi everyone, and in the PSF family and beyond, my name is Onyi Egbuna,
and my name is Temi,
and we want to welcome you to Shifted Perspectives.
Yeah, we're back. This is episode 2. We have made it. How are you feeling this week? How's your week been this week?
My week has been great. I have some tea. Something that I did learn. Is that life is unpredictable. Life is actually so unpredictable. Like, okay, James 4, 13 to 15, it says, "This is why you cannot boast about tomorrow. Anything can happen at any moment. So trust God to protect and keep you." That's me paraphrasing. But basically, the tea is, I got into a car accident. Like, it's not even funny because it was very traumatic at the time. It wasn't even my fault. Just some teenagers driving recklessly.
Always the teenagers. Sorry, guys.
The boys.
Mine were girls. That rear ended.
The boys will rock you. So it was very unexpected. And it was like, literally, like, I had all these plans. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I was going somewhere. I was like very excited. And then one moment of a car accident could just like change your whole world. You're like, where am I going? Who am I seeing? Because all I care about is the fact that I'm alive. And I think that really like shifted my perspective, on like how I view my life and like really dedicating it to God every single second, every single moment, not just the big things, but even just being on the road. Like, every day may seem like you're just driving normally. But then one day something can happen, and, it's so important to make sure that you're covered by God and you're under his covering and his anointing and everything. Because if you're not, the enemy will just snatch you up as if you were nothing. So, thank God for his mercy and me surviving that, because that was a huge testimony. And I'm glad I'm here to tell you all my story.
Yeah. No, I literally, if I hear car accidents, I like clinch, because I had a very, very bad period where I was like, I had car accident after car accident after car accident after car accident. And then like all around me, people were getting into car accidents. And then so the last car accident I had, I think it was like ending of 2022. My car was wrecked. Teenagers. The 17-year-old girl had just got her car.
Mine was 17 too.
Really? She literally just got her car. And it was a big
car for a joyride.
Right. Yeah, so it was a big GMC truck. It was raining. It
was a truck too. Wow, that's crazy.
But the thing is,
are they siblings?
Yeah, there was siblings. There was a younger sibling in the front, and then the thing it was like, at least you had an SUV. Yeah. I was in a little Toyota Corolla.
Wow.
One thing about Toyota Corollas is any little dent, it just melts. Because we had a plastic. So I was rear-ended. I flew 100 feet. I literally almost died. I almost got into the car in front of me.
Wow.
And it was scary. Like when I said near-death experience, I couldn't drive for months. Like it was.
That's scary.
It was so scary. And that was a lot. There was a lot of soul searching and I wasn't, at least you're right with God. That time I was not right with God.
That's God's mercy right there.
Right.
He's like, I still love you.
Yeah. I was really.
Not time to go.
Literally. The mercy of God was literally on my side, because I knew that I was not. Oh God, what I was doing, man.
I will not go to the Father.
Right. I knew that I wasn't going to make it to heaven. So.
scary when you know.
Yeah, I knew that I wasn't. So I'm like, when I heard that you got into it, I was just like, oh my God, I hope she's okay.
Yeah.
And thank God you are okay. You are healthy. God. Not even a scratch.
That could walk away from that. Crazy.
Yeah. You could walk out of the car. That's.
Yeah. God is good.
Yeah. God is really, really good.
Yeah. Okay, and they're okay too. Yes. And they're okay. Oh yeah. The other party's okay. Yeah. How was your car though? Was it fully totaled? Oh, my car's not okay. My car's totaled. It's okay.
Oh my God.
At least I'm alive, right?
Yeah.
So,
oh my God.
Pretty car. It's okay. But have a pretty life. So.
Right. Okay.
What's your tea?
My tea tears in trans for this week. My tea was, I've been like, I don't know, for the past year, any of this last year and this year, I've been really like, we've been really like going through the Bible per like, per chapter like book. So now I'm at like 1 Kings. And family dysfunction, it should be like the theme for the Bible. And it's like, and I feel like I came to a realization. I was just like, any man of God, any like man of, and like, if you look at their family, it is dysfunctional. I don't know anybody can name one family in the Bible.
Yeah.
That their family was like, okay, this is a family that like, I want my family to look like. There's not one. And that is so scary. So in my mind, I'm just like, do people not realize that the devil really attacks families? Like, do people not realize that?
Yeah.
Because men of God, they're so, and I think this is something that we've also realized, like that when you have like a purpose and a goal, I feel like they sense to get distracted by like their family is their main church.
Yeah.
So like you see it a lot in David, Samuel, Eli, even Abraham.
Yeah.
Like there's just
Lot.
Everyone. Like
Lot's daughters were out of pocket.
I loved everybody. Everybody was
There's
out of pocket.
There's no one of it at the top.
Like,
are you okay?
Like, babe, what? But it was just like it's so crazy. So I was just like, that's some tea, and no one really says anything about it. But everybody's family was really dysfunctional, especially men of God.
Yeah,
especially men of God. But
man,
girl, I don't know. And then so my tear, I didn't really. It's not something, but that's something that I really was like an enlightening thing. Was I think I was watching this video, and I think a pastor said this. They were like, we keep praying for a new life, but refuse a new mind.
That's a word. Like,
and I said, ooh, and this is something that God's really been dealing with me, because I'm just like, God, I want a new life. I want to be transformed, restoration on every side. But it's just like, if I move from place to place, if my mindset is the same, nothing will change. And it reminded me of like people who move from church to church. Like, oh, you come to church. Oh my God, the pastor said this. I don't really fit in this church. All these kind of stuff. You have the same mindset. You go to the next church and you realize that pastor is just like your old pastor. You realize people are still people.
Wow,
and they
people
still
are not God. That's crazy.
People are not God. They still have flaws and everything like that. And then you're like, okay, how you go to now move to a new church, and then you don't realize that it's new surroundings, same you.
Yeah.
So it's like you want a new life but refuse a new mind. So you want God to renew your life, but you refuse to renew your mind. So that is something that God has really been working at me with now, because for me is through traumas and through circumstances, for me not to repeat cycles, for me not to repeat mistakes. Like, I seriously need to change my mind, not my surroundings. Because one thing about me, I'm a runner. I will
run. Runner to your track star.
I will run. If I see there's a place that's causing me inconvenience, one thing, I will run. If there are people at a school, I will change schools. If there's, I will move. I will change my number. Wow. But I have to really assess, maybe the problem is me.
Because the mind is not running. The mind is right there with you.
I keep running from helter to skelter, and I keep finding the same situation meet me there, and I'm like, what is going on? I just have really bad luck. No, babe, your mind is still the same. So God has really been holding me accountable about that. I literally was just like, okay, God,
no more
heard. Okay. And then my triumph for this week is I feel like now I finally found my rhythm when it comes to my schedule. I've literally...
Wow, so much easier when you stop running, you know?
Okay, find a way good way to call me out.
Wow, I can keep up with my schedule when I'm in one place. Crazy thought.
You know, she's right. She's completely right. Yeah, so like I finally found a rhythm to my schedule. I feel like in the beginning of the year I was very much overwhelmed and frazzled. I felt like I wasn't getting a bearing with all the different components of my life, whether it's school, church, and all those kind of things. So I feel like now that I've gotten to a rhythm, so I think it's a very big triumph.
Wow, that's amazing.
That I'm not feeling overwhelmed.
I'm so happy for you. That's great.
Thank you.
Because I will definitely stay until I rot. But thank God for his mercy.
Don't do that either. Ask God for help.
Don't be a people pleaser.
Yeah, don't do that either.
Speak your mind.
Okay.
But next up we have this video that Temi shared with me of this PK. And she was doing like a poem, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting. I didn't really agree with everything, but you want to give us a little more insight.
Okay, yeah. So I was again scrolling on TikTok. As people realize, they know that I'm a TikTok fiend, but my For You page is blessed. My For You page is anointed. So
there's some great stuff on TikTok.
Okay, yeah. So there's this video, and it was this girl. She was doing a spoken word, and basically, she was just basically doing a spoken word as a PK. So I'll read like what she said of the spoken word. She said, "I'm sorry that your parents parented everyone else, but only pastored you. I'm sorry that the line between church and home was blurred, causing neither to feel sacred. I'm sorry that your sins were never forgiven, as if Jesus died on the cross for everybody else's sin but yours. I'm sorry that your secrets became your parents' sermons for the sake of keeping the congregation alive. I'm sorry your parents put so much effort in raising a building fund than raising you. Woo. I'm sorry that your brothers and sisters in Christ took your spot in the family tree, leaving you feeling orphaned, but at least God is your father, right? I'm sorry that the world treats you like Satan. They are waiting for you to fall from heaven. I'm sorry that there's so much stake was placed to keep the family image, but all the while, nobody really got the picture. I'm sorry that most people didn't ask you what you needed and always assumed what you wanted, but all you really needed was to be heard."
So many points. She was going deep.
She was going deep. And like when I was listening to it, I was just like, oh my God, like I feel
heard.
Right.
Like her last point.
I feel, not even feel her, but I also felt her emotion, and I felt her church hurt.
Oh yeah.
Deeply.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of us really go through a lot of church hurt.
Yeah.
So like, how did you really feel about that? Like, how did you,
my thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Honestly, when I first listened to it, I was like, is she tripping? But then I was like, this is coming from a healed perspective. Onyi, back then, you would have been crying alongside with her. So like, I definitely understand what she's talking about. I think there is a lot of pressure on PKs to be this like light for everybody and pave the way. And it's like, I'm just a child like your child. I'm growing as they're growing. Like I don't have all the answers, but they just expect you, you're the pastor's daughter. You must just be, you're just ready to slay giants. And I'm like, I am not, I'm not the golden child. Like I still make my own mistakes and everything. And so just seeing her from that perspective of like, like I'm not perfect. Like these are the things that I'm struggling with. Especially when your parents put you on blast, right there on the altar. I think when I was younger, I didn't like it. But
I still don't personally. But
now that I'm older, like I'm like, you know what? Somebody might need to hear this, and if I have to be put on blast, that's okay. My struggle is your testimony. So, yeah.
Again, as you can tell, she's very mature. God is still working on me. Okay, so as I read this, I was just like, a lot of us sadly relate to a lot of the struggles that this girl was really talking about. She was talking about I think what really got me was the fact of the first one. She said, "I'm sorry that your parents parented everyone else, but only pastored you." And I said, "You know what? You are right."
Wow.
And I have the, like, from my own experience, like, there was times when my parents were parish pastors, and then when my family moved from Nigeria back here, I think my mom and my dad also had, like, kind of an awareness of, like, okay, it's time for us to kind of, like, take a back seat. So we were in I think what it is was, like, my dad was a parish pastor in Nigeria. And then while we were here, my mom was, like, the minister / pastor in charge of all things children at my old church. And so like, everything was everywhere all at once. And so I didn't really, my dad was pastoring somewhere. My mom was here with us. And, like, I felt that so deeply. Like, it didn't come to a point till we moved here and both were at home. And I think my parents took a conscious effort, was just like, you know, we're going to take a back seat from ministry, because it seems like my family is in disarray.
Wow.
Because that's the reality. But a lot of people never get to that point of, like, okay, let's take a beat. Like, the ministry will go on because that's Jesus's bride. He gonna handle her. But my family, I have to be present in. But a lot of people don't get there. So I really, really understand their hurt. And it's like, for a lot of preachers and a lot of pastors, like, your main priority is your family. And I think that's what God persecuted Samuel and Eli for. Like, it's I understand your purpose and the calling that God has placed on you, but there has to be some kind of balance. And because there's a lack of balance, a lot of the kids tend to suffer. Like, a lot tend to suffer. So I understand the church hurt. So when the whole misconception of, like, PKs are the worst and preachers, like, kids are the worst and worse and worse, because is there a parental figure there? We were reading David last night, and it was so baffling. David was like, everybody wants to be like David, but he was a horrible father. Horrible father. Like, I think it was in was it in First Kings? I think it was in First Kings 1 or Second Samuel, I think 24, where it was talking about how yeah, it was First Kings 1. Let me open that up so I don't paraphrase. Let's hit the Bible, child.
Let's get into our Bible.
Yeah, hold up. Okay, yeah, Adonijah. When he wanted to become king, right? Because you know, David was, like, at his last legs. He was, like, 70, crippling old, and Adonijah was like, you know what, I'm gonna be king, whatever. Like, I think I can do it. Like, Absalom's dead, so I could, you know. And it said in the Bible in verse 5 and 6, it said, now Adonijah, whose mother was Haggith, put himself forward and said, I will be king. So he got chariots and horses ready with 50 men to run ahead of him. His father had never rebuked him by asking, why do you behave as you do? He was always also very handsome and was born next after Absalom. What?
Not even a simple, why are you doing this?
Like,
not even say slap, just simple question.
Like, what? Yeah. And this is David. Yeah. And it's just so,
David that can slay giants, can talk to his own children. Let's tap into that.
Like, the train wreck of a family that he had was, and I think the root cause was the fact that he was not present as a father. He did not, like, he did not parent well. And the Bible shows, like, the clear consequences of this. Like, you can be a man of God, you can do great exploits for this, but, like, what was David's legacy?
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the grace and mercy of God in Solomon's life, what could have been his legacy? A lot of his kids died. A lot of his kids had unnecessary trauma because of his lack of presence as a parent. So it's just so crazy. And a lot of PK pastors' children, like, we feel this, we understand this.
Right.
I feel this and I understand it. Like, there's a lot of things that have happened in my life. A lot of things I can, like, if only my parent was, I feel like, was present or was just more attentive to me than like their ministry. I feel like a lot of things could have been avoided.
Yeah. And I think that really shows the importance of parents being around, because God is our Father. He don't even have to be around us, but he chooses to be around us.
Come on.
He never leaves us nor forsakes us. So us mere humans, well, we to say, oh, I don't have to be around my children. I can focus on my ministry and they'll be fine. And I think also, like, David was known as a man after God's heart. So it shows that, like, you can still be very righteous, very faithful, not living a sinful life, but your family can still suffer. And so the second you decide to be a pastor, to have a family, it's not just being a pastor anymore. Like, you can't be selfish and be like, okay, all I care about is myself, and like, you know, what am I doing for the kingdom? Because part of your kingdom assignment is also your family. That is also something that God expects you to foster well and do well. But I think many pastors get stuck up in this whole issue of like, oh, if the congregation is happy and the church is growing, then my kids will be fine. Like, you know, throw some money at them, or I'll spend some weekends with them. But they need that time of nurturing as well. Just as much as you spend time preparing your sermon, spend time teaching your children that same principles and everything, because they're the next kin after you. You know, you don't want to leave a bad legacy. And honestly, glory to God, because my parents were people who were on me. And when I was younger, I was like, please, can you give me some breathing room?
Like, actually,
you a little too much. You're doing it too well. But now I'm like so grateful, because our relationship, you know, is very strong,
very tight knit,
very strong, and it's very good. And it's helped me to also stay in the path that God has led me on, you know, and not have that resentment, not have that pain and that hurt. And I think, you know, it's something that a lot of, you know, parents and like pastors should have in mind. You know, they didn't prioritize, oh, like, let's make a big church and let's do this, let's do that. Like, I think also part of it is just remaining humble and knowing your limits. Knowing like, okay, for the betterment of my family, maybe this is where the ministry is gonna go. And that's okay. And like, God is not looking for a mega church from every single pastor, you know. So
so like, and even a question there, because she talked about how that I'm like basically being aired out on blast, that there was no place that ever felt sacred, because like secrets to be aired out and all those kind of things. Like, you know, have you ever gone through that? Have you?
Like, secrets, yes, but not even like, oh my gosh, this is the detrimental to my life. I would say, like, you know, our culture, like with Africans, it's very much we're a community. You know,
everybody got to be in
if you mess up,
business.
whether I'm your mother or not, I will beat you, slap you. Take it to my mother, just beat you and slap you some more.
Yeah.
So like, secrets was not a thing. Like, growing up, it was like, if you're doing anything wrong, your mother is gonna find out, your father is gonna find out. And so that was something that, like, growing up, I had to learn of, like, you know what, if I don't want to get caught, better not do it. If you don't want it to be on blast, just don't do it. But I can also understand, you know, how people can feel bruised in the sense of like, wow, like, I can't tell you anything because before I know it's Madame this, Auntie that, Uncle this is gonna know all of my information. But I think, you know, the enemy also thrives in secrecy and keeping things in hiding. So sometimes getting your business out there is what will help you stop in that repetitive habit of sin. And so as painful as it might be to like know that, oh, everybody in church knows my business, at least now you know a lot of these people are keeping me accountable. And so there is the other downside of it that people then turn into gossip. But at the end of the day, like I said, if you don't want your business out there, just don't do it. Is that hurtful? Is that harsh? I don't know. That's just.
I mean, I feel like coming from a perspective of like now that we're older, but I feel like also it's important as kids that like you have a place that you can run to.
Yeah.
Because like I think it's very important to have that place and be like, okay, I know that if I tell y'all this stays with me. and I feel safe. But I feel like when that breach of trust is broken, that safety is gone. And the place that you really need to feel safe from is from your parents. So I agree with that part as well. But then I also feel like sentiment away, like you're taking away, because the lines are blurred from church and home. Your house, your home, which I don't even know where. I just lay my head to sleep. The other one I don't. So it just depends, and I understand, but I think it's a lot of root causes for a lot of church when it comes to PKs and stuff like that. So I think it comes to a matter of we have to get to a place and forgive that a lot of this does not come from a malicious place, but also as parents being aware. They're like, what's the limit? And also like, yes, it might not come from a malicious place, but like, is there things that I could do to avoid my child feeling like this? Or because there's consequences, whether you mean to do it or not. So yeah,
that's a great point too. That's a great point. So, and I think, and it's
and because of a lot of PKs feel this way, it's very important for churches to have spaces like this and like a community where PKs can be like, okay, like, relatability, like
shifted perspectives,
right? Shifted perspectives, right? PSF, RCCG, PSF. These are great places to come to and fellowship with other PKs who have the same journeys, who have the same issues, go through the same things, so you can have a safe space, and they can also help you navigate all through these things.
That's good.
Good. Welcome back, guys.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? So we're now going to actually get into the nitty and gritty. You know, on the last episode, we talked about the season. Our season theme is freedom and how we got freed and how we stayed freed. And this episode, our topic is don't look back. Freedom from the past. How we got freed from the past. And our person that we're going to be really, really looking into is Lot's wife.
Looking back.
Yeah.
So Genesis 19, verses 15 and 16, and then a little bit of 26 kind of goes into the story of Lot's wife and the whole thing of her looking back. So I'll quickly read it for us to give us a little bit of context. And it says, at dawn the next morning, the angels became insistent. Hurry, they said to Lot. Take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here. Get out right now, or you will be swept away in the destruction of the city. When Lot still hesitated, the angels seized his hand in the hands of his wife and the 2 daughters and rushed them to safety outside of the city. For the Lord was merciful. But Lot's wife looked back as she was following behind them, and she turned into a pillar of salt. Which is so crazy. So when I was reading it, like the first thing I noticed was that like God was really merciful to Lot because he hesitated. He didn't immediately obey. But then Lot's wife just turned small head. She turned into a whole salt. She's like, he was like, you know what? Yeah, no more mercy left. Like, I just thought that was really interesting. And it made me start to think like, why was God merciful to Lot? But then he, was like, nope. No more mercy for Lot's wife. Like she was just pillar of salt. No more life left in her.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between hesitation and looking back. Hesitation, there's like a should I do this or should I not? Should I stay or should I go? But then Lot's wife was out of Sodom and Gomorrah, and she said, "Aww, my city." And it's like, and it's like you're looking back at something that God is trying to take you away from, God is trying to deliver you from, and you're like, oh dang, I wish I could go back there. I wish I could. I wish I was there. Like this is, and I think God gets angry at that because the same thing with the Israelites.
Yeah,
when God freed them from Egypt, they were like, let us go back.
We're eating meat and pepper soup.
No. I want to go back to my slavery. I want to go back. I want to go. There's no food. There's no water. Right. There's no. I want to go back. And God was angry. And God was really, really angry at them. So I really feel like when God delivers us from something, us as humans, we tend, because we don't know the unknown, we tend to be like, dang, I wish I could.
Yeah, there's comfort in familiarity.
And looking back, man, it's not.
Makes you salty. No pepper. Feel salt. But yeah, like as you were talking, something else that came to my mind is that like she was looking back to destruction. Like there was nothing there left. It was literally getting destroyed. So ma'am, what are you looking back to do? And so I think too, like outside of God's presence is just destruction. And so if you're outside of his presence, there's no mercy. His presence is not there. So like all that's left is for the enemy to use you and dump you and chew you out. And so I feel like that's what she ended up being, like not being a being, because out of God, you're nothing. And it just shows like anytime we want to step away from where God is taking us, we're just stepping into nothingness and destruction. And it's only by his mercy that he will even hold your hand, like the Israelites for 40 years.
Absolutely.
And even after that, they kept complaining. He was like, you know what? You're done. We're done. Your generation after you is going to see the promised land, but I cannot deal with you anymore. So it can get to a point where God's like, I'm tired. And if God is tired, God that is so patient, if God is tired, you know, you really
push this a little bit. Yeah.
So let's not play with God. You know,
and Lot's hesitation, it was while he was in Sodom and Gomorrah.
Exactly. He needed that help.
He wasn't taken out. So I think there's a different outlook of it because you're still in your mess.
Yeah.
So you're weak, you are broken, you are this, you are that. You know, deliverance hasn't taken place yet.
Yeah.
So there's a grace that can be applied to Lot. But Lot's wife, she was already out of Sodom and Gomorrah. They told her, don't look back. She said, I'm gonna look back.
Yeah.
She was being disobedient, one, and then also shows somebody also being ungrateful. Like God just delivered you from something, and you're like, dang, I want to go back. And God, if I was God, I'd be like, there's no way this person is talking right now. She doesn't know what I just saved her from. And literally like me.
Let's talk about the tea. Lot's wife's one person, but what about us?
Right, we're talking about Lot's wife. What about me? What about us?
I am a culprit. I'm a big culprit.
And I think us, if we're bringing it to practical terms, there's been some relationships that I shouldn't have been in. God was trying to save me from.
He completely destroyed it, and you're like, there's still a little rubble.
I could double back. I could go back again.
The smoke is cleared.
No, because I was in a relationship that was no. It was not a Christian relationship. It was not I was not doing Christian things in that relationship. And the person I was with was not a Christian. And God was. And you know what's so funny? Because we always do the prayer like, God, if I'm not supposed to be here, you could take me out. But we really don't mean it.
Yeah.
And God was just like, okay, bet. And so when he's trying to take me out and I'm thinking, oh my God, what is going on right now? Like, does God hate me? Like, why is God taking away my love, my heart, my heartbeat? Thinking God is being malicious. And then you double back from where God is trying to pull you from.
And it actually becomes a disaster.
And that was kind of the issue. That is me being frank, that I was having, because I was in a relationship that it started off innocent, as they always do. It started off innocent. It started off, maybe I could, whatever. Ended up getting into a relationship with this person. Knew this person was not a Christian, was actively living in my Sodom and Gomorrah, doing Sodom and Gomorrah things. And then all those kind of things. And I can tell you there were so many instances that God was actively trying to pull me away, whether it was from me or my parents or my surroundings or situations. But I was always going back. I would do anything necessary, even if it inconvenienced me to go back, even if it paid me to go back. I was watching this video, I think yesterday or 2 days before, and there was this girl, she was just like, it was a story time that she did. She was like, how I fell in love with a narcissist. And how she literally was just like,
I can't even say it was all him because I allowed him to do this to me. I kept going back. I kept, like, he literally was showing me who he is. And I kept saying, but he could be better. But he could do, you know what I mean? And in all these different situations that God brings forth to highlight who this person is, it's like red flags that, okay, it's time for you to leave. No, it looks purple to me.
It's pink.
It's pink. The shade's a little. Once you see it, 1 app, 2 app, 3 app. Oh, I'm sad.
The redder it is, the more I want it.
Right.
So.
And it's really, really bad. So there's a lot of times of that I like behave like Lot's wife. And in that, like, the covering that I had on me, it was being taken away. So like I talked about, like the car accident that I had, like it was during that moment where I did not have the covering of God. That was just by the mercy of God that I was able to, but I had a lot of long lasting consequences because of that car accident. The covering of God was there. When I said my life was chaotic, my life was chaotic. No peace, no serenity, no happiness, no joy. You're going to a place that all it does is give you heartache and heartbreak. But I don't know. They just I know the one thing about the devil, the sneaky little devil. When God delivers you for something, the only thoughts that will be coming to your mind are good ones.
Yeah.
Like he will roam and be like, I really could double back. Like we really had some good times.
It wasn't bad.
Like we had a good day.
It was just one tear.
It was just what is and it's probably me. I was probably being overdramatic. What? So it's just like God literally, and God is just looking at you like, dude, what the heck?
Yeah. Like, what did you do?
Like, you prayed for me to help you and deliver you, and now you want to double back?
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do at that point.
Yeah. You don't want me, so you don't want me.
Yeah.
So I think, like, my question to you then would be, if someone is in that situation right now, they're listening to you and they're like, I'm in the grunt of it. The red flags are looking very much pink, and I'm crying, but I will struggle through it. What would be your advice? Like, what helped you get out of that?
PRAY. Pray.
Pray on your knees.
Yeah, and it's not even the prayer that most people think about. My prayer was people pray against the devil. I was praying against myself because I knew the issue was for myself, and I knew, God, I am not strong. I am weak in the knees. I was praying, God, you take him away. Take him away in a way that I can't even access him. I was praying prayers like, I am sad, distraught, like there's chaos in my life. I need you to handle all of this. I cannot do this on my own. Yeah. And so I was praying those kind of prayers. And I think God really honors when you are surrender. And there's remorsefulness in you. And then there's also like, okay, God, I've tried. I cannot do it again. Yeah. Like there is just a sense of like, And God, when I tell you, God really helped me. I could not do it on my own until today. I still get those thoughts. During Valentine's Day, I was like, dang, it wouldn't hurt.
Really is lonely out here.
Really, like I could really get a little Valentine, like whatever. Yeah. But then I prayed, God, if I ever have those thoughts, if I ever think about having those things, do something that will stop me from even making a mistake like that. And consistently, I've had a lot of almosts, but I've never gone through with it or like made the full mistake because God has really honored his prayers and answered my prayers when I almost make a bad decision or always almost make a difficult decision. Something will happen. Something will happen and will stop me, and I'll be like, that was God.
I think another good point too is like accountability. Like not doing it on your own. Like the angels are great accountability. They're like, hurry up, get out of here. Like we gotta snatch you up, we're gonna snatch you out. So like having friends that don't enable our bad behavior. Don't tell
There
us,
it is.
oh, girl, he's tripping.
Right.
Oh, girl, just text him a, you know, a little sneaky this, sneaky that. No, like, cut it out, delete, block, whatever you need to do. Walk away. Don't look back.
Yeah.
Because they're waiting for that moment of weakness.
Absolutely. And I think about if your life is constantly chaotic, when you hear silence and peace, you mistake that for boredom, and then you start to chase after the chaos. Right. So, like, for me, that's what I do, and a lot of people do that. So that is why people always tend to always go back and chase back and all those kind of things. They have comfort in chaos. They find comfort in strife. In a war zone, like they find comfort in all those kind of things. Yeah. And so I think it's just very, very important that, like, you gotta see the light, and it's gonna hurt, and it's gonna be painful, and it's gonna be a sad, treacherous journey. But I'm telling you, when God rescues you,
when your eyes finally clear, when the veil is removed,
oh my God. Oh my God. And I think that's the thing with Lot's wife. Yeah. She only saw the beauty in Sodom and Gomorrah. She could not see what was actually wrong in Sodom and Gomorrah. She could not see the issues that came, the consequences that came from living in Sodom. Look at how her daughters turned out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, look at how her daughters turned out. But she couldn't, you know what I mean? She couldn't even see that.
Is that scarcity mindset? Oh, there's no more people for me. Oh,
there is more than one. There is 8 billion people on this earth.
You'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
You do not need a toxic man to feel comfortable and at peace.
And even with our relationships, also past mistakes, even past traumas, like making the same mistake over and over and over and over and over again, because you haven't, like, oh, you could just do it, it'll be different this time. Like, these are all lies from the enemy, lies from the devil.
It's the same tricks. Same tricks. It's dog, same tricks.
Right. So yeah, it's really, really. And do you even have an example? It might not be relationships, but just like any past mistakes, or just like things like you just found yourself going back to doing. How did you overcome that? Like, yeah, how did you, like?
I used to be a very toxic person.
Oh wow. My dickiness used to be a very toxic person.
Isn't that crazy? Look at God. Look at God. Crazy. But no, like, I used to be someone who couldn't keep friendships for a very long time because I was scared of other people leaving me. So I would run. I used to be a runner. Wow. Be the track star. But now I stay. I know how to stay on business. But, like, because I was so scared of people leaving me, and I didn't deal with that pain, I ended up projecting that onto others. And so I would block people, I would ghost them, and people would be like, what's going on? Like, yesterday we were perfectly fine. Today you are completely ignoring me. You're not even talking to me. You're not even, being kind to me. And, that led to me being very abusive in my friendships, whether it's physically or emotionally or just, like, verbally. And, when you're in that state of just, like, not loving yourself, you literally cannot love others. And when you don't understand God's love and understand that it's so pure, it is so kind, it is so merciful, that no matter what you have done in your past, he will cleanse you, he will purify you, he will change you and take all the mess and give you something completely different. Come on. You will continue to bleed onto other people thinking that they are going to be your Band-Aid. And people cannot be your Band-Aid if God is not even the one healing you to begin with. And so that was, like, my issue. Like, I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm looking for a friendship, or I'm looking for a relationship that will completely heal me, that will make me feel like this new complete person. And I wasn't getting that. So I kept running and running and running in these different situations. And it wasn't until I finally, like you said, gave up. And I was like, you know what, God, like, this is getting toxic. This is getting unhealthy. This is turning into a problem. And I don't like who I've become, and I don't like who I see in the mirror. Like, can you change me? Can you transform me? And I think the problem a lot of people face with asking God, like you said, like, you ask for a new life, but you don't want to change your mind. I was like, I want a new life. I want this. I want that. But when he was really like showing me who I really was, because you can't change if you don't know who you are to begin with. And I was like, whoa, I don't like who this is. And I'll run back to those older people and be like, hey, like you like say something nice about me, make me feel good about myself. And God made it in a way that everybody that I called, everybody that I ran to, shut the doors. They're like, sorry, I cannot help you. Sorry, I'm not there for you right now.
Wow.
Sorry, I'm doing my own stuff. Sorry, you hurt me in the past. And like that really taught me to like, yo, I need God, because what is going on? What is going on? Like, why can I talk to the same people that I used to? Why can't I like say the same things that I used to and get away with it? Like, what's going on? And so I think like it's so important. Not looking back is also showing like when you say, God, I really want to surrender to you, I really want you to transform my life, let him be the one to do it. Don't look back at the people from your past to change you, to transform. Like he will bring in new people. So I got to a point where I was like, God, like I literally don't have any friends anymore. Like I need a new community. I need a healthy community because the people I'm running back to, they're not even going to give me the right advice or help me in the way that I need to. And God brought those people, but it was because I surrendered to him and let him flesh out everything in me that did not look like him, and he created me into a new creation, to the point where I tell some people my past and they're like, who is that? That don't look like you. And I'm like, that is a testimony that I can, you know, find joy in, because it's like literally only God. And so there's beauty in not looking back.
Yeah. And even like we're talking about freedom from our past and all those kind of things. It's even like past outlooks. Like even as us, like the person I was, Temi, I was very reckless. I did things for the plot. I did things just to do things because obviously I was trying to fill a void of emptiness inside of me. Right. So any thrill seeking, risks taking, I was doing it.
Anything that will lead to destruction. But we think
basically
I ain't gonna die. Dude, YOLO.
Right.
Like,
I made it the first
I only live once. Exactly. You only live once. Why you risking the one life you have?
YOLO, bruh. If YOLO definition, I was YOLO. YOLO definition, I was. Yeah, you see a picture of me
God
there.
is so merciful.
Right. So like. So like, yeah, like it so like those past outlooks, like, cause yes, I got delivered, but it's also like a continuous struggle. And it gets easier day by day, but it's still a struggle. Do those thoughts come? Yes. Do those temptations come? Absolutely.
Oh, people will push your buttons. People will try you, but you gotta remember who you are.
like I'm telling you. So all these things will come, all these things will show up. But I feel like one, the prayers that I prayed, and also the conviction that I have in Christ, and realizing how much I lose. I lose my peace. I lose my covering. I lose my safety. I lose all these kind of things if I slip up or I like backslide, you know what I mean? So I think it's very, very important to highlight what are the things I'm going to be losing. Who I'm going to be losing, who I am in Christ, the people that Christ has put around me, you know? So it's very, oh my goodness, very, very, very important. And if you do slip up, like, it is very normal. There's mercy. God is merciful. Like, look at David.
A man after God's heart. That's just a lot.
A man after, that is wild. But is it not the truth? Let's be real.
If BBLs were out there, David would have made it a decree. All women must get a BBL.
David would have not made it. So, oh my goodness.
Know your weakness.
Know your weakness, and don't put yourself in positions. That will, put you there. And that's something that I saw David as he grew older and older. After Absalom tried to take over his kingdom and everything like that, and he finally came back. Probably part of the reason, what's it called? That Absalom did end up sleeping with all his wives, all his concubines that he left there. He did, yes. But once he got back, I think there was a point in David was just like, okay, you know what? Let us chill. Because after that time, David did not have any rendezvous. No, whatever with women or girls anymore. So he literally took them out of his. He said, "Look, I know you guys are my wives. That's your house right there. Go over there. You're going to be well taken care of. But he did not surround himself with those kind of things. So I think it's very, very important as well that like we also like, yes, we are human, but realize that we're also weak as well. So me, I had to create necessary boundaries.
Yeah.
I had to distance myself. I was not going to put myself around somebody that is going to, you know, make me fall. And I'm not going to be friends with people that are going to make me fall.
Right.
That is going to encourage that bad behavior as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's I think it's very, 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 very important. Yes.
Yeah.
And like freedom is, I think, is a continuous journey. It's not just like a moment. So freedom is something that you continuously seek and go after. And you have to be desperate enough to go after it. And so I think that desperation from me was what made me like, I will do anything that is possible because my life, it is crazy right now.
Right.
And I need help.
It's Sodom, like is on fire. And I cannot be in the fire.
Right. So
I am not Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I will run.
I will fold. I will fold.
Like, yeah, that's so real. That's so real. And I think, like you said, like, know your weaknesses. Like, know the community cannot be around. Like, some people are like, oh, I can go to the clubs and preach to the lost souls. Sir, you just discover that you are alcoholic. I don't think this is the time to be going to the club, preaching to the lost soul. Like, learn what you can hear. Because let's not lie to ourselves. Like, oh, I just came out of this struggle. Let me go and preach to these same people that I just came out of. No, leave it to other people who God has sent.
Yeah, surround yourself with people you strive to be.
Yeah.
Look, find people who, you know, this, I like their relationship with God. I want my relationship to be like that, because that was a big help in my situation. Was the fact that it was just like, wow, like my relationship with God is something that I would love to have. So attaching yourself with those kind of people, teaching you like, this is how I talk to God. This is how I interact with God. This is how I, you know, have one-on-one time with God. This is how I go through these different situations. Really, 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 really will help.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good. Yeah. So do you have anything to say about being free from our past?
You know, stay freed. Love it. Not looking back. If any of you watching from my past, this is not an invitation to come back.
Yeah. Stay over there.
Go and find Christ. But yeah, this has been great. This has really been great. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Don't Look Back. Tell us your stories of how God had freed you from your past mistakes, your past struggles. We want to know all the tea, and share your tears and triumphs with us as well.
Yeah, make sure to comment that down below.
Yes. And you can also follow us on YouTube as well as Instagram to stay updated on when we post next. But until then, stay tuned to Shifted Perspectives.